The Chicago Bears have just put the whole NFL on notice. This is where we're at. Now we have a bearded coach Flus. He was talking through his staff just yesterday in a press conference where he made some formal introductions as well. And what I absolutely loved about this is the fact that the goals and just the tone, they are so very different than what we're used to. There's now a different expectation, and it's exactly what we need here at Hallis Hall. And we as fans, we get to watch what happens next. And I think it's going to be something special. Eric Washington, for one, he had a very bold statement during this presser, and you'll just love this as much as I do. As you know, he won't be calling the plays, but he has some ideas for what kind of defense he's going to be coaching in Chicago this season. Washington said yesterday that he wants a defensive line that could rush the passer like no other unit in football. And I'm going to a story here on chicagobears.com. It's a great profile in this press conference. You guys go check it out. I always want to give credit. So to quote Coach Washington, we're going to be a team that generates pressure with our front four. We're going to build the best pass rush in football. What that happens to be an area, fortunately, an area that I've had tremendous success with, and we have the personnel to get that done. So we've got our new defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, being formally introduced. And man, I really love this hire. And it's also a bit of a homecoming for him. I further quote, "It's an honor and a privilege to be standing here today in this role, to be returning to Chicago." This is what he told reporters, "to be returning to the Chicago Bears, the place where I started my NFL coaching career 16 years ago." So referring to that, his first pro job here was in 2008 when he was a defensive assistant for 2 seasons. Then he advanced to being our defensive line coach in 2010. He seems to really understand something, the tradition of the franchise that he's now a part of once again. And honestly, I consider that important. With our rich tradition, with our city, with this franchise working for us or playing for us and being successful, it just totally hits different. And I'm glad that he understands that. He is a part of a legacy here. And then he reminisces on his fond memories from his first stint in Chicago. Washington expressed his gratitude for the McCaskey family, who allowed him to, and I quote, "understand the legacy of the Chicago Bears." He continues, "Now having an opportunity to come back, they've welcomed me with open arms, and I'm looking forward to doing my part to help us both obtain our ultimate goal, and that's to win a championship." That is great to hear. It's not about beating Green Bay. It's not about winning the division. Those things are fantastic, fantastic things, but we want to win a championship. And I'm glad he's coming out of the gates swinging with that. And we're talking about having the best number one pass rush in the NFL and winning a championship. That's a new bar. And I think that's fantastic. That is a difference from what we've been hearing. And head coach Matt Eberflus, he took over the play calling duties after Williams' resignation last year. You guys know that, but he'll retain those responsibilities going forward. But that didn't dissuade Washington from taking the defensive coordinator job here in Chicago. And he's confident he'll be able to put his imprint on the defense despite not calling plays. Here's what he can provide. He can give a fresh perspective on defensive philosophy as a whole. And man, there isn't anyone better in the league when it comes to the defensive line. Pairing him and his expertise, his defensive line expertise, alongside Coach Flus. Coach Flus is unrivaled when it comes to linebackers. What a mix this is going to be, right? Washington also lauded Eberflus's ability as one of the best defensive play callers in the NFL. While he won't be calling the defense on Sundays, I've already said that, he will play a big role in constructing the weekly game plans, and he'll be ready to step in as a play caller should Eberflus want to change things up or something happens during the season. So more from Coach Washington. My focus, that was what the job is as opposed to what it isn't. The opportunity to come here into this organization with a defense that's clearly on an upward trajectory, that has some really dynamic performers in place with plans of obviously augmenting that. That's what my focus was. And that's what it continues to be. I've been a play caller. I'm pretty confident that I'll do that again at some point. But right now, I'm really confident with what Matt is going to bring to the table in that respect. And I'll support him as best as I can. Most recently serving as the Bills defensive line coach from 2020 to 23. A question is, why did he choose the Bears job? I mean, he knew he wasn't going to be the one calling plays. So why did he choose this? Washington let us know the reason he chose the Bears. It's the front four that's already in place. He described our front four as an attraction due to the group's, and I quote, size, speed, quickness, and length. I mean, part of this is Montez Sweat, right? Washington said he admired Sweat's traits and mindset when he was entering the NFL, and the Bears made a big investment in generating a pass rush last year, right? When they traded a second-round pick for defensive end Montez Sweat, you guys know that. Thankful for this. Then we signed him to a 4-year, $98 million contract extension immediately. Washington sees Sweat as a focal point of the defense he wants to build, and that's obvious. But the talent, not just in the D line, but throughout the entire defensive unit, that was a point of intrigue to Washington when he was interviewing for the coordinator position. We have two vitally important players that we invested big draft capital in last year, Gervon Dexter, right, and Zach Pickens at defensive tackle. It's just incredible now that we have the best man for the job in developing these two guys. It's so needed. And Coach Flus, he emphasized hiring teachers primarily at all the coordinator positions and at all the coaching positions. And Coach Washington is the epitome of that. And here's the thing. We run a 4-3, right? And this statement that we're going to build the best pass rush in the league is telling. What's the core philosophy of the 4-3? Not needing to blitz a ton, getting pressure with only the front four. If that can be done, the other 7 guys, obviously, they can cover and force turnovers. And if you have 4 that can get to the passer, it's a huge advantage. So right now, we've got Sweat. We've got Dexter. I think he's a good one. And DeMarcus Walker. If Pickens develops, maybe he can rotate in, but we just need another piece. I think it sounds like Washington knows we're going to be aggressive here. We can go the free agency route. We can go grab Hunter, Allen, Burns, good grief, Huff, Wilkins. I mean, there's a ton of choices here. And with the league just now raising the cap limit and our veteran cuts, we're looking at $80 million in cap space. That's insane. After signing Jalen Johnson, we still have tons of cap space to make some moves. So let's be thankful for the way our GM is managing the cap. That's just fantastic. In polls we trust, right? We can also draft one. I'm really starting to like Jared Verse at 9, but we're going to move around a ton. It's hard to predict what will happen there, but we can definitely draft a defensive end. Even if we sign a free agent guy, I think it's something that we're definitely going to pursue in the draft. But rest assured, he already likes who we have. And he continued to talk through it. Number one, it's an explosive group of players, Washington said. This defense was elite in several important categories that led directly to winning football. Making teams one-dimensional, stopping the run. We've got some really good players on the defensive line. The team is in the top 2 or 3 in taking the football away and continuing to feed an explosive offense. When I looked at that in terms of those things being values, those were the things that really got me excited, along with the scheme and the structure of the defense. I mean, there's also a long-time relationship with Coach Flus that sealed the deal as well. They've bonded over common mentors and peers over the years in coaching circles. Although this will be the first time that they formally worked together, working with Coach Flus was a huge attraction for Coach Washington. And he certainly has a ton of respect for our head coach. He labeled him as an unbelievable play caller. And he also highlighted his ability to put players in the best possible positions to be at their best. He praised Coach Flus as far as calling plays, being aware of situational football, and also, putting the best possible players in the best possible position in order to maximize their talent. So he recognizes that. We also have to remember Coach Snow, right? He's still a part of the staff. He still does advanced scouting on each team and prepping our team on every conceivable situation that may arise each week. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but I always want to give Coach Snow a lot of credit because so much can be attributed to him as our defense became dominant during the second half of last year. And also, if you remember, Coach Snow, he had a ton of experience calling plays. He was the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. And man, we have such a good staff this year. This is what I love about it. It's not going to be excuses about the players. It's not going to be excuses about anything besides performance on the field. And we're going to know exactly what we have as a product because we have the best coaches to manage everything that we have. So if we're not successful this year, we're going to be like, hey, it is personnel. Hey, it is this player. It is all of these things. We can no longer have the excuse of, hey, our coaches stink. That's why we're not any good. Anyways, got on a little tangent there, but I absolutely love this situation. And to sum it up, Washington also lauded Eberflus as an unbelievable play caller. He highlighted the coach's ability to be situationally aware, as I said, and put players in the best position to succeed once more. We are in such good shape with this defensive staff. We're going to add to the defensive line. We have a coach that is an expert on defensive lines. That's Coach Washington. And we also have one of the best linebacker coaches in the business, and that's Matt Eberflus. And he's also going to be calling our plays, which he is elite at. And man, we are in such a good situation. Bear down, my friends. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.